Okay, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me, and thank you for taking the course. When a toner's no longer good, it just stops. Birthday, so he there on his 21st birthday in the Job Corps facility, but we got him there.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yep. And I told him that if he have any problems, we know somebody. We got people. So
yeah, you got people. 27 years, you got people. Well, tell him I think I still know. I do actually know. It's not a think. I do know some people that work at Paul Simon up there in Chicago. Okay. So I'll even try to get some names and try to shoot them to you.
Well,
just so
right now I'm not. He out there on his own, so he gonna be out there.
Yeah. You say welcome to the real world.
You a grown man now, son. Exactly. All right. Well, ladies, I'm gonna start.
Okay, and I'm gonna go off camera just for a bit.
That's fine.
And just listen.
Yep.
Because I want to switch to my computer.
Gotcha. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a mock signing. We are going to be using my practice docs, and even before we get into actually the paperwork, we're going to go over printing, because I did have a situation where they tried to print the docs incorrectly and it just messed things up. So whenever you view your PDFs, you need to view them from Adobe Acrobat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Adobe Acrobat app here. I'll share this screen. I think you can see that. Hold on, let me make sure. Just so that, where is there? And then I'll share the screen with the software. Hold on. All right, we've got 5 people in the room, so it's time for me to start making little announcements. If anyone gets booted out of the room, this is a free Zoom room. So all you do is just rejoin using the same invitation that you had originally. So what we're going to do first is we're going to print the docs. And anytime you inspect, or these are the actual documents on the screen you're seeing. These are the docs we're going to use. Anytime you have an assignment and you want to review the docs from the title company or whatever, open it in Adobe Acrobat. It's a free program. There are a couple others out there, but the reason that you want to use Adobe Acrobat is because Acrobat is set up to print on letter and legal size paper, and that is very important. Sometimes the title company will send you docs that is on all letter. If someone at the title company makes an error in their scanning, it'll be on all legal. That still works, but you want to open your documents in Adobe Acrobat. So this file is already open, and the print instructions or the print procedures are as such. You can either hit the print icon or you can hit File and then Print. Now this window pops up. This is the printer driver, or these are the instructions to print. These are the settings that you want to have. Print in grayscale or black and white, because that's going to save your computer from shooting and burning up all of your colored ink. Then I always have save ink or toner, because I want to save some money. I don't want to, because these cartridges, like a refill for one of my printers is $108. So I don't want to burn through that all the time. So this one is optional. This one, it is optional as well, but I suggest you use that one. So you want it in grayscale. You want to save your ink. Then down here, this is where it gets real important. You want to print all of the pages. You want to print all of the pages at their actual size. You don't want to fit or shrink, and you don't want to use a custom scale. You want them at their actual size, and you want to have it choose the paper source by the PDF page size. So if you have set your printer up and you've got a dual tray printer, then this will make sure that it pulls the letter size pages from the tray full of letter paper and the legal size pages from the tray full of legal paper. You do not want to print on both sides of the paper, and you want your orientation to be set to auto. Now, if you don't have a dual tray printer, Then what you want to do is you're going to print actual size, choose paper source by the PDF size, but you will be printing 2 different packages, and I'll make another video that addresses printing a package from a single tray printer, but right now we're going to assume that you have the suggested equipment. So I'm going to print my package. These are the settings that I'm going to use. It's going to print 172 pages. It's going to print them on both letter and legal size paper. It's going to print it in grayscale, and it's set to save ink and toner. So once you click print, you'll see the wizard pop up, and then it'll start. It's called spooling. Basically, it's communicating with the printer, and if your PC and your printer are close by, when it gets to this point, you should start to hear your printer humming or whatever it does, and it's going to start printing pages. So while my printer downstairs is printing, I'm going to change cameras. I learned how to do that a minute ago. It's this one. No, it's not. Oh, God. All right, so we're going to get off of this screen. Now, I'm going to switch cameras because I couldn't remember how to do it. So now you see where I'm actually going to be working. That's my setup over there. And we're going to go over prepping the documents before the closing. So I'm going to move over to where my workstation is. If you can't hear me anymore, or if the audio gets choppy, then somebody let me know, because I don't have a screen that I'm looking at to watch this. So I'm just doing this in front of the camera. And I have no way of knowing what's going on. So I'm just going to keep acting as if everybody sees me and it's totally fine. So this is the actual set of documents that we were going to shred, but I stopped that just to go over prepping the documents. So I'm looking for a page that's safe to show you guys, that don't have no personal information. You know what? We'll start with this. All right, so some people, before your closings, they want to flag the pages. This helps because it alerts your signer's attention to where their signature needs to go, and it can help the signing go a lot quicker. So you go through the documents beforehand and you flag all the spaces where your clients will need to sign. You don't necessarily have to flag every signature line, but you can. You don't necessarily have to flag down where the signatures go. You can put your flag at the top of the page, because what you want to do is you want to make a notification for yourself as you flip through the docs where you expect signatures or where you will need signatures to go. So you see a flag here at the top of this page and on the side. So, and my wife, she does this for all of her signings, because for her, it helps her complete the signings a lot quicker. Me, I don't do this anymore unless there are certain circumstances, and those circumstances are, sometimes the title company will tell you that your customer or your client does not want to have any contact with you. They don't want you to come in their house. They don't want you in the room. Basically, they want you to watch them sign through a window or from your car, because they want a no contact closing, and that is due to the pandemic. So when you have a no contact closing, that is when I suggest you flag. Absolutely, you have to flag, because there's no way to indicate to the client what they need to sign. Now, sometimes you'll use the flags to show them where they need to put their initials. So this is what you do when you have a no contact signing. You flag the package, and all of the spaces are highlighted where the client needs to sign or initial. And you go through the whole packet and do this, and that way you can hand the packet to your client and watch them in a safe place. You don't have to be in the room with them. This is, of course, after you have verified their ID, and we're going to go through that in a couple of minutes too. So the reason why I heard a voice. Did someone have something to say?
I have a question for you,
Okay.
Mr. Courtney. With the no contact signings, how does that work? I mean, once you have everything flagged, are you basically just handing them those documents? Are
Yes.
you putting them in the box, and are you guys on camera? And then
No, actually, Okay, I'll tell you what I do, and then you can use that, I guess, as a guide for what you will do. I will watch them through the patio window, the front window, the screen door, the glass of the screen door. I mean, you physically have to watch them sign the paperwork.
I see. Okay.
You just don't come in. They don't want you within that 6 feet of their personal space. They want you to be in your own space, but that doesn't mean that you can't physically watch them sign the docs. And you have to still verify their identity. So for the title companies, verifying the ID is basically taking a picture of the license and sending it back. Well, I hear.
Pull your papers down. All we see is like your hand. Yeah, we can't see the dot.
Is that better? Well, that's because you ain't supposed to see these. These got people's information on them. The blank set, the blank set is still printing. I'm just going over flagging while it does print. Uh-oh. I heard myself. Is the audio okay on this?
It is. I think someone else
It's a little choppy, but you're okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So the reason why I don't use these flags is because.
Oh, yeah, I did see that on Instagram.
Did that person successfully make it in? Whoever that was?
They did. They're just not on mute.
So do I need to mute them? All right, our docs are here. My wife just brought them up, but I want to finish this thought process first. The reason that I don't flag packages is because when you are done and you are about to send them back to the title company, you have to take all of these things off and you have to figure out something to do with them. Now, me personally, when I do flag documents, I reuse these. I know they don't cost a lot, but my business still spent money on them, and I'm going to use them until I can't use them no more. The reason why we prefer these is because you can take your pen and you can write on them. You can write messages. You can tell people if it's his place to sign or her place to sign, or you can tell them do not sign. So that's why we like these little clear flags. But when you're done with them, you either have to discard them or find a way to store them to use them again. So that takes care of doc prepping when you use the flags. Now, this is our monster for today. This is the closing that we're going to do. It's 172 pages. It's got some extra documents in here just to practice with. And this one, I can show you guys everything because these are my practice docs. They've been cleaned. That means that there is no personal information from any client or any institution. All of this stuff, I went in and I edited all the names. So first we're going to talk about prepping docs without the flags. So what I suggest you do, we create piles or sections. And those sections are documents that have to be executed versus documents that don't have to be executed. So we're going to cover separating the documents into, we call it the fluff. It's the pages that are instructions for the title companies, for the lenders, all of those pages that have information that your client does not have to be involved with. Then there's no reason that you give them those papers, because sometimes when you walk into somebody's house and you got a stack of papers this thick, that can be intimidating. So what we do is plus it's in the way. So we go through, and yes, at some point you will be flipping these pages kind of fast. I also suggest when you sit down, if they have a place setting or a centerpiece, man, try to make yourself some room, because the more room you have to use, the better for you. Because as I go through and separate the pages, I make piles. Like these are pages that have to be executed by the client or myself. They will go here. And then pages that don't have to be executed, like all of these are all of instructions. Now, when you flip through the pages, normally, let me put it back together. Normally, you want to see the title of the document, because you will learn better by repetition. So the more closings you'll do, the more familiar you will become with the paperwork. So you won't know which pages go where at first, but you do need to practice or prep before your closings if you can. Once you've done it a couple of times, then you can take a package like this and you can sit right at the table, right in front of them, and do this whole sorting thing. You can do it right in front of them, because during the closing, there is information that you should give your clients before you even start. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how we would sort some of this stuff, but I'm going to leave it together because I'm going to show you what we would do at the table. So these will be executed by the notary or the client. Now, when I'm flipping these, I'm looking at the bottom of the page down here to see if it's a series of pages, like this is page 1 of 2. And at the same time, I'm glancing at the top of the page. It's the data proof sheet. This document doesn't have to be executed by the client or anyone back at the title company, so you just don't present it. There's no need. Then more documents that don't have to be executed, so you do not present them. This one has to be executed by the settlement statement. That is not you. That is not your client. That is someone back at the lender. So this does not have to be presented. You go through this, and usually you'll be able to get rid of about 30%, maybe 40% of this pile by going through the package before the closing and removing the fluff. See, we've only done a little bit, but we've got this much out of that pile already. Now, the closing disclosure. Everyone knows. If you don't, you know now. The closing disclosure is always going to be the first document that you present, and that is my opinion. Also, the title company is going to tell you on several occasions, don't separate the package. I'll put it to you this way. The closing disclosure has almost all of the information that any client wants to know about their loan product. So this is what we start with. We start with the closing disclosure, and we definitely always review this. Now, sometimes people, they want to introduce all of the documents. That's fine. We're not going to introduce documents right now, but the second time that we go through this, we will introduce the docs or give you a system to help you introduce the docs more efficiently, because the whole process can take a long time, but you don't want it to take a long time. You want to give your clients enough information that they are fully informed about their loan package or their loan product, but at the same time, you don't want them to feel the need to read through this unless that's just what they want to do. Because if a person sits and they decide they want to read through all of these pages, that closing is going to take you maybe 2 hours. And as you start to do this as a business, like most businesses, time is money. So you want to be informative, you want to be efficient, you want to be accurate, but you want to be timely. You do not want to spend a lot of time at the table. So the closing disclosure, or CD, this is the document that you review first. So when you are separating before your closing, I'm going to suggest you put that to the side. A lot of packages, especially if there are 2 borrowers, if there are a husband and a wife or a spouse or whatever their relation to each other is. But if you have 2 people on the loan, you very well may have 2 closing disclosures. So this is the exact copy of the first one, and we're going to put it in the same place. This is the note. It's the written promise between the borrowers and the lenders that their loan is going to be repaid. This document as well, it gets executed, so it goes in the pile of docs that need to be executed, but you don't have to do that one first. And then, of course, there's the mortgage. The mortgage, it varies in pages. Sometimes it could be 8 pages. Sometimes it could be 16 pages. The smallest I've seen was on a home equity line of credit. I think that version of the mortgage was like 9 pages. Whatever it is, this has to be executed. Now, when you go through and you're trying to figure out how do you know a doc that has to be executed, it'll have signature lines. But the biggest way, like I've had a situation where someone thought that they were notarizing the client's signature, and so they saw two names and they stamped twice. That is not correct. Unless they ask you. You don't necessarily go by the number of signatures that you get on the document. You look at the acknowledgement part of the page. It has Joe Doe Batman and Jane Doe Batman. You're gonna notarize once for both of these signatures. So just because there are two names, you wouldn't stamp this twice. You stamp this document once. But the mortgage does get notarized or executed, so that goes in your pile of docs that need to be executed. This is not the condominium rider. This document attaches the HOA to the mortgage. I'm sorry for just spewing out document definitions, but when we go through this, because I'm not going to introduce these documents, basically. We're going to go through this, and I'm going to show you how my closings go. And I'll let you guys know before that. I'm going to talk during what I'm doing so that if you have any questions, remember, I can't see the camera. So if you're raising your hand in the chat, don't do that. Just say something, because my PC is next to me, but I needed all of this table space, so I couldn't set it up in front of me. So if you have a question, just tell me to stop or whatever. Just get my attention and I'll stop what I'm doing. So the legal description is not executed. The condominium rider is, as well as the fixed interest rate rider. All right. I started this showing you documents in the order that I present them. So the notice of right to cancel, in my opinion, this is probably one of the most important documents in the packet, because with the notice of right to cancel, your client can cancel the entire transaction. So this document I definitely go through first.
Excuse me, Courtney.
Yes, sir.
I just want to have a quick statement and question, because I had a situation yesterday.
Okay.
And this is like, the first step is properly IDing somebody. But like on the cover sheet, this is where I identified somebody. They had their proper name that matched their ID on the cover sheet. But on the loan documents itself, which makes no sense to me, because I know how this is done, because I worked as an LO before. Somehow they added an A to the person's name, and that made the signing invalid.
Did they have a signature name affidavit that included that other version of their name?
No.
Then we're going to...
It was basically just a typo, because they had, like I said, on the cover sheet, they had the proper spelling on the name. Mm-hmm. But on the documents itself, somehow someone added an A. And I know they're supposed to auto-populate when you type in the information.
Right.
The information. But somehow somebody did something tricky and just added an A. So I just wanted to put that out in the universe. Just be careful to the actual signature line of the client, because it might not match the initial first page. That's all I wanted to say.
Right. And then sometimes to tie into that, it would depend on if it was like, was it a lender doc or a title company doc that had the misspelling?
It was all the docs. This was just for a loan mod.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah, that was a typo somehow.
Yeah, everything was messed up except for the main cover page.
Well, yeah, to address more of what Ray is talking about, if you have any inconsistencies, don't even go through with all of this. That is another reason why it's a good idea to look at your documents before the closing, because stuff like what Ray is talking about, plus there can be all kinds of different things, and I'm going to show you some of what I've encountered. However, review your docs every chance you get before the meeting with the client. You don't have to review them here physically after you've printed them, but you definitely need to go through the PDF, because what I do, I'm not saying you should, I'm just giving you more information on what I do. Here, I'll find a page that, okay, wait, let me pull this to the side. This is the application. We're going to pay special attention to the application, because this is the document that a lot of people make the smallest mistake on, and the title companies go crazy. So we're going to put that over to the side. And I'm going to look, let me go back through here. I'll turn it this way and I'll go to the mortgage. Give me 1 second, guys, while I dig that up. And I'll show you a reason why I like to review my docs in the PDF before the closing. All right, so on the mortgage, on the last page of the mortgage, there's a venue. It's State of Illinois, County of McHenry. This is not always pre-populated. As a matter of fact, I typed this in. So before I created this document, the word McHenry wasn't here, nor was the word Illinois. It only had state of and county of. Several of the docs that you receive will only have the words state of and county of for the venue. You have to hand write the remainder. You have to hand write Illinois or the state abbreviation. You would have to hand write McHenry on every acknowledgement in this package that you stamp. If the closed property is in a different state, several times it'll have state of, and it'll have a different state altogether. It'll have like Texas. It'll have Florida. I moved my camera. Hold on. So you have to make sure that this information is correct. This is the venue. That's what it's technically called, a venue. And if you make any changes to the venue, you have to initial your changes because it is a mistake. You are correcting a mistake. For most of us, except Ray and any people he may have brought, you'll be doing documents and you'll always see state of Illinois here or state of, and you need to always make sure that it's Illinois. The county, McHenry County is where I live, but it doesn't always go by where I live or where the property is. The venue has to be accurate to the location of the notarization. In layman terms, state of Illinois, county of wherever you are sitting when you execute these docs. That is what goes in the county. Not where you live, not where your commission is, not where the property is, but your physical location. So in prepping for your closings, you get the address from the title company or the signing service. In one of the videos in the group, I talk about software, and there's an app that we use. It helps us find out what county we're in beforehand, because when I prep for my closings, this is typed in. I type this in because every time I go, because this is something that's easy to miss. This is a mistake that a lot of people will make. You won't have the venue correct. So I go through and I physically type in or edit whatever they have here. Now, I know that you will see, it'll tell you, do not change or alter the docs. All right, more technicalities. The venue and everything in the notarial blockage, this is technically like my property in this document. So I can correct this. Stuff up here, not so much. Definitely the place where my notary stamp is going to go. So if I'm going to stamp this page, then this page is mine. It is property of me, and I have the right to make corrections as needed. So if the names were spelled wrong here, I would make corrections to the name. If the names were spelled wrong here, call the title company, call the signing service, tell them that there's a misspelling, and ask them, can you make the correction? Now, that's the technical procedure. You can take that information any way you choose. That's the technical procedure. Call them first before you make corrections. But you won't even know that there's a misspelling until you get in front of the client. Does that make sense? I hope so. So this area we own. This area is still the title or signing services. This is someone else's area. But if it's incorrect, call the signing service or the title company and ask them what they want you to do. The majority of the time, I have had the experience where they told me to just make the correction. So if it was John Doe Batman the second instead of the third, if the surname was wrong, then we would draw a line through the incorrect surname. I would put my initials, and then I would write the correct surname below. So now it becomes John Doe Batman the second. This is how you make a correction on any document that there is an error this is the way to make a correction. A single line through it. You can't cross it out because that's wrong. The title company or the lender, they'll send this back. The reason being, they want to see your mistakes. They want to see your corrections. They want you to stay as transparent as possible on this paperwork. So making a mistake is not horrible. As long as you show them or let them see what the mistake was and see what your correction was, then they're fine with that. All right, so we're going to carry on. There are a couple people who have text my phone number. If I go past the allotted time and I am booted out, let me know so I can sign back in. At some point, I'm going to probably take the chance to turn my PC around so I can see what I'm doing. But for right now, I know I'm still within the limits of that free 40 minutes, so I'm going to keep going. All right, so these are documents that we had pushed over to the side. I'm going to stop sorting now because I have a feeling that everybody understands pretty much the process. And then we're going to go through. We're going to not necessarily explain some of the docs. Right now, I am more focused on helping you get through the packet. Now, this is the USA Patriot Act. This is a very important page. And I did have an individual, they thought that the client signs here. No. The Patriot Act, this is the one page out of a couple that are specifically for the signing agent or notary. You fill this out. This is how you guarantee to the title company and the lender that you are actually in front of their clients. So you're going to take some of their information. You're going to use one thing from this list, and if they require one thing from this list, they have to have one of these because these are all photo IDs. So they have to have at least one photo ID. And then down here, this list, they'll let you have a pass, and it doesn't necessarily have to have a photo included. For the license, state ID, or anything else, you're going to record the country and the state, the ID number, the day it was issued, and the day it expired. That's it. But you have to include a photo of the ID with the paperwork. There's only one company.
Courtney,
yes, ma'am.
question.
Okay.
This is Brianna. I was calling. Does the ID have to be current?
Yes, it does. That's why it says valid photo ID. If it's expired, it's no longer valid. Now, in Illinois, where most of us live, except for Ray, of course. Ray, I'm not going to keep singling your ass out, bro. So I'm just going to ignore you. I ain't going to keep saying your name on my video. I'm sorry, ladies. That's a big brother, little brother thing. Ignore that. In Illinois, they have extended the expiration date due to the pandemic. I'm not sure what the current status is, but I'm pretty sure we are still within that window where if I tell people if your ID has expired during the pandemic, then Illinois has given you an extension. But if like their license or ID expired in 2018, 17, it was expired before the pandemic. And me personally, you can make your own assessment. I wouldn't accept that ID. But under normal circumstances, the ID has to be current. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, don't be so polite. Y'all know me. I'm just trying because, you know, this may be a larger audience than the people who I've had a conversation with or a Zoom meeting with. So, but you're welcome. You're welcome. And in a minute, I'm going to turn my camera around so I can see. But back.
Excuse me, sir. Can I add something?
Yes, Ray. Yes. I'm trying not to cuss, Ray. I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying.
Oh, I understand. You have your professional voice right now.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Thank you.
But on top of the first block, there's something that states if the lender or the title company requires one or two IDs.
Right here.
Yeah.
I was getting to that, but thank you, Ray.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, you good, bro. Yeah, they don't always want to. Sometimes this will say one, like Ray said. In that case, you only provide one ID. Now, if you have two signers, there's something that you have to pay attention to because these two pages look exactly the same, but they have the individual name of the person who you're supposed to identify. So one is for the husband and one is for the wife. Oh, give me 1 second. I got to take this call. It could be a Google call. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Hello, this is Courtney.
Hello?
Yes, hello. How are you?
Oh, hi. I actually called you yesterday about getting something notarized.
I remember the call. Yes.
Okay, so how does it work? Like, can we get it done, like, around 6 or 7 tonight, or?
Yes, we actually schedule appointments 24/7. Is this your cell phone number that ends in 3265?
Yeah.
And what type of documents are we notarizing today?
It's mortgage documents, like, just...
You're the one who had the part of the, you didn't have a full set of closing docs. It was select documents from like a refi or something like that, correct?
It's not a refi. It's literally just, like, one or two signatures that we have to sign, because we were in the COVID program, so, like, it's just signing them.
Yeah, I remember you saying that yesterday. So this is what we're going to do. Right now I'm headed to a meeting, so I am going to text you information. Basically, it'll include the fee for the service, and it'll include fee if you bring documents to us, or if we bring documents, or if we travel to you. And then you would reply to that text message with your first and last name. And if we're coming to you, we would need the address. And then we will schedule you and send you information, including your quote. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so hold on. I'll text you in a little while. I've got to get through this meeting, but you said it would be later this afternoon. You aren't trying to come or needing a notary right now, correct?
Yeah, it wouldn't be till, like, 6 or 7. It's just we had to get it done today, so as long as it's today. But
Yeah, I remember your voice and the call. Yeah, we spoke around 11 or 12 yesterday. I remember now. So, yeah, we'll make sure that we get that taken care of for you, and you'll have all the information you need from us. My name is Courtney. Most likely I'm going to be your notary, and I will reach out to you as soon as I'm done with my meeting, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Now, it was what I thought. I apologize again, but I wanted you guys to hear that call too, because I had spoken with someone earlier today and they were asking like, well, what should I charge and stuff like that. Here's my take on that. First, I'm not going to share with you what I charge if I haven't already. If you've never heard what my prices are, then you probably won't hear them from me, but I can tell you I'm not cheap. I'm not letting anybody come to my house for $5. That's what Illinois allows us to charge per stamp. However, I don't sell just a stamp. I sell a service. My service includes other things than just my stamp. So when somebody comes here and we take people at our threshold, they come right inside my front door. We've got a metal table and 2 metal chairs, a little cute little tea set thing, and we sanitize it in front of them, and we sanitize it when they leave, and we put the sanitizer on the table, and we give them a pen with some sanitizer wipes when they walk in, and they are definitely not finna get all this from me for $5. You better believe that. So here's what I'm going to say about fees. And I'm sorry to lose the focus, but it's still part of the business, and we're all trying to grow and build a business. Go ahead. I hear somebody inhaling to speak. Is that you, Ray? Okay, never mind. When it comes to the fees, you have to know what the state allows, and here in Illinois, we can charge $5 to use this. So, like I said a moment ago, I don't sell just using this. As soon as my clients come in the door, I'm making a copy, and I'm explaining to them that this copy is in case we have an error, because they gonna come with just one set of documents. So I try to urge them to let me make a copy for them, not for me, for them. So I make a copy of the paperwork, and then if there is no error, since I've already made the copy, I'm gonna execute it anyway. So now you've got 2 copies of this document, so you don't have to worry about sending out your original because you have 2 originals. But at the same time, for the purpose of the service, I've stamped 2 pages, so that's $10. I've also got those little flags that sometimes I use, these things right here. This right here. This is a supply. This is part of my supply. So in the package that I sell, they purchase a service, and that service includes my supplies. When they leave here, when they leave here with whatever paperwork they have, I don't have any in front of me. I've got these manila, these blue, and these black document covers. Everybody leaves with one of those covers. That's part of the service that I sell. So when it comes to fees, your notary fees, you have to put that together yourself. The only thing that you have to do is make sure that when you invoice, because in Illinois, we have to invoice as of January 1st. You have to give everyone a receipt for everything you do. So that woman who just called, when she leaves, she's going to get an invoice from me for the service. So if you are going to include travel, if you are going to include document service, if you are going to include supplies, then all of those are, I don't know if they're called add-ons or whatever, but that is part of the package that we sell. So, you know, the rest of it, you have to just use your own initiative. My wife says it's common sense. I'm like, no, not really common sense, but cool. All right, so this is for the purpose of the recording. The Zoom meeting has ended. So, those of you who are watching this recording, you get to see a different look at things because I am about to re-sign into the Zoom and, you know, go back to the group of people that I had in there. So, I am going to get my mouse here because I'm still recording on the screen. All right. Now, okay, I'm back. Thank you for texting me that the meeting had ended. So, anyone who's in here, I hear somebody's TV. Nah, I still. Okay, thank you. So, like I was saying, I turned the camera around too, y'all, so I make sure that everything is a lot clearer now. Yeah, let me fix my little. Okay, so when it comes to quoting people fees, you have to take all of that into consideration. There's a couple things like that lady heard me say yesterday when she called. She said she got a couple of pages. Honestly, people who have few documents, they are not my targeted customer. I don't want your money. I don't want people who only got 1 or 2 pages. Take that to the UPS store. Go and spend $5. You know, save yourself some money, but because you can't come here and spend $5. You absolutely cannot. And I'm not walking out my house, leaving, going nowhere for less than $50. So if you have paperwork like that, I tell them all, the UPS store, the currency exchange. Somebody got audio. That's Alexandria. Alexandria, can you, yeah, we got feedback. Maybe I need to turn the volume down on my stuff. Because I need to hear y'all questions. All right, so the UPS store, the currency exchange, your local bank branch, and where I live here in Crystal Lake, the library notarizes stuff for free. So I tell people, go to any of those places before you come here, because you can't come here and spend $5. After they hear me present all those options, if they still want service from me, then we go forward. All right, so we were at the Patriot Act, and we covered how it'll let you know how many forms of ID you need. It'll also let you know who you need to identify in the Patriot Act. This is the part down here that the notary has to fill out. Your signature, your printed name, and your title. Now, this is an important thing that a lot of people get. They make a mistake here. Hey, Doc, it's good to see you. Printed name and your title. So my printed name, of course, is Courtney Stevenson. And I always put my middle initial because I have a son who has the same name. So I want to make sure that, because he 11, but whatever. All right, Courtney Stevenson. I can't spell my name, y'all. And then my title, I'm not a loan signing agent. I'm not a signing agent. I'm none of that on any of these docs, even though that might be what they call you. My official title is notary public or just notary. I put public. So anytime they ask you for your title, you are always a notary public, unless you are more. You could be an attorney, Attorneys have notary commissions too, but don't ever put loan signing agent or LSA or signing agent or SA. You are none of those. You are a notary public who has been certified as a loan signing agent or a signing agent. You are not this. You are this. So always remember that when they ask you for your title. All right. So I'm going to put this back together, and we're going to start my closing because I got a fresh 40-minute clock. And the same rules still apply. You guys can definitely chime in with your questions, but as I do this, I'm going to do it in almost real time. So if you need me to stop for whatever reason, then just let me know and I'll reset. That joining back in to the Zoom, it was real quick. Thank you all for staying. I know some of y'all gonna get kicked out soon because I did. So I'll try to monitor and see when people get kicked out. All right, so now I haven't prepped these docs. This is the scenario. I haven't prepped these docs and I'm about to do a closing. My client is sitting across from me and I hear somebody. Hello?
This is Catherine.
Hey,
You
Doc.
said a moderate person to view the clock. You have to do that on your end. I'm willing to do it for you, but you have to assign that to me so I can keep tabs of your time.
Oh, well,
If
you
you
better
want to.
teach me some more. I don't even know where none of that is. Where is it at?
Okay.
Participants?
Look under participants and see if you can assign it there.
And then, okay, I see more next to your name. And then it says make host.
Not host, but a moderator. Moderator, however you say
Moderator?
Mm-hmm.
It's not an option. Maybe that's because I got the free version of Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch your time for you.
Thank you. But I'm looking at the camera now, so it's gonna let me know when it pops a big flag up in front of the screen because I done had that happen a lot. All right, so I'm finished creating a scenario for you guys. I am at the table with my signers, and they're both here, and I have looked at their IDs, but I haven't done anything to them yet. Okay, so now this package is fresh, sort of, kind of. So this is what I do. I sit down, and we have light talk, light conversation. And then as soon as I know that they got their pens and I got their attention, then I start with the script. If you've been signing up for different signing services or seen any of these docs, if you haven't, there's a script that they suggest we use. Basically, the opening statement by the notary to begin to conduct the closing. Now, in this one, I'm not explaining or introducing docs. I'm showing you how my closings always go. Sometimes I do have to describe a few or introduce a couple, but I try to address that in the beginning so that ain't nobody got nothing they need to say. And all we really need to do is just have these pins on this page. That's what I want, because I've got another signing that's maybe 45 minutes after this one or 30 minutes after this one. So I need to get this done, get this information to you, go through and check this for accuracy and get out of here. So this is what that looks like from me. All right. So before we begin, I got some rules, about 5 or 6 of them. And as soon as we're done, you can have your life back. Now, while I'm talking to them, I'm going through looking for my start page. Hopefully you remember from before, my start page is always the closing disclosure for me. Any place they ask you to write the date, you're going to use 4 digits for the year. So your dates today are going to be 2/6 of 2022. You can't just use 2/2. Any place they don't ask for the date, please don't write it. If you make a mistake, you cannot cross it out. There's a specific way to make corrections, and we'll go over that if we need to. When you complete a document or a set of documents, I want you to put everything face down in one pile on the table so that it looks like this. You do not have to separate, stagger, or alternate any of the pages. Just dump everything in one pile right here. Oh, need the camera up. Okay. Just dump everything in one pile right here. You don't even have to worry if the pages aren't facing the same way, because when we're done, I am going to go through this pile to verify accuracy. Then by that time, I have dug through and found my closing disclosure. All right, let me put this here. All right, your total loan amount is $81,000 $3,893. Your interest rate is 4%. Your monthly principal and interest payments are $387.15. There's no prepayment penalty. There's no balloon payment. However, you do have a PMI or a mortgage insurance. Do I need to follow this with a pen so y'all can see? Well, some of y'all ain't got the doc, so I'm reading off the closing disclosure. Total loan amount is $81,093. Your interest rate is 4%. Your monthly principal and interest payments are $387.15. There's no prepayment penalty. There's no balloon payment, but you do have a PMI or a mortgage insurance, and that's for the first 11 years. The mortgage insurance or PMI is in the amount of $52.71. You also have an escrow account set up to pay your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. The amount of the escrow is $187.14. So from the closing disclosure, I've told them what their loan amount is, what their interest rate is, how much they're going to pay per month before the escrow. I've let them know if they've got a prepayment or a balloon payment penalty, and I've let them know that they got a PMI of $52.71. I've also let them know that they have an escrow that's going to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance, and I've told them that their escrow payments monthly are $187.14. Then I go on to say your final monthly mortgage payments are going to be $627 for the first 11 years. Years 12 through 30, your PMI, which was $52.71, falls off. So starting years 12 through 30, your monthly mortgage payments go down from $627 even to $574.29. Then I let them know down here where it says cash to close, different lenders will give you this information in different ways. If they put a minus sign in front of this dollar amount, that's a refund. If there is no minus sign in front of it and it's just the dollar amount, that's how much they owe you for their closing costs. That's the cash to close today. So they would, if there was no minus here, they owe me a check for $160.39. But because they owe the title company, I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay.
They owe the title company a check for $160.39 at the table before you leave. Or they can wire the money. But somewhere in this packet, there is a payment and disbursement letter where they get to choose. If they get a refund, the lender and title company lets them choose how they get their money back. If they owe money, you have to read the instructions, because some lenders have said that they only want a cashier's check. The rule used to be anything under $1,500, they could write a personal check. Anything over $1,500, they wanted a cashier's check or they wanted the funds wired. It varies. When you accept the assignment, the title company will let you know, usually, if they expect their money back, because the money will go to the title company. So before you even meet with the client, the title company will tell you how they want their money back. When you're in front of the client, you can remember what the title company said about how the money comes back, but you can always show them how much money they owe. It is always at the bottom of the closing disclosure. Now, these examples are under perfect conditions. There are special situations where this number can be wrong, because you will learn as you do this, the lender and the title company, they will make errors. But right now, all of this stuff is a perfect situation. Everything lines up. So their cash to close amount is $160.39. No, they get a refund of $160.39 because there was a minus here. Then from this document, you can also tell them about their loan product. Top right-hand corner. Yeah, okay, I can see it on the camera. The term of the loan. So your product is a 30-year fixed rate FHA refinance. You get all of that from this top right corner of the closing disclosure. Your lender is PennyMac Loan Services, LLC. And your title company is Old Republic National Title. So in the opening minutes, I've told them what to do when they finish signing the page. You're going to put it in the middle of this page face down. I've also told them what their loan amount is, what their interest rate is, their monthly payments before the PMI or the escrow kicks in, the monthly payments after the PMI or the escrow kicks in, what their escrow covers if they have one, and whether or not they have to give a check today or they're getting a check today. They got all that information in like less than 2 minutes because I'm stopping to pause and explain things, but this takes very little time. So in this one document alone, unless they're worried about some legal stuff, they know everything about this 30-year refi that they need to know. They know how much they're going to pay. They know how much their loan is. They know what they're going to pay monthly. They know how much their escrow is, and all, they know all of that here. So now I'm asking you, if you were a signer, what other information than what I just told you, what would you want to know? Okay, crickets. That's good. That's good. So we've gone.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I do. When does my first payment start?
You go ahead, Kathy. You know what, girl? You all right. There's a document in here. It's called, you ain't gonna believe me, it's called the first payment letter.
Okay.
So when I get to it, right, when I get to it, but if they have to know ahead of time, then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go find it. I'll say, you know what, I'm looking for your first payment letter. Give me a second and I'll dig it out. And here we go. It's on several docs. You just got to know where to look.
Okay.
I will make my monthly payment on the first day of each month beginning on March 1st. So their first payment date is March 1st.
Okay.
Everything that they want to know is somewhere in here. You just have to know where to find it. And that you will learn from repetition. So we've covered the first page of the CD or the closing disclosure. There's nothing else I need to do with this document. There's nothing else I have to say about this whole pile in front of me. I just told them everything I plan to say, unless they ask me questions. So I tell them we've covered the bottom line information from your loan product. If there are any other documents or set of documents and you want a brief description or definition of the paperwork, let me know and we'll go over it together. That's kind of my way of saying I ain't got nothing else to say to y'all. We gonna so then remember there are two people over there. You just can't see them. So here on my signature page, I have John Doe Batman 3 and Jane Doe Batman. So I'm gonna take the first set, and you saw the signatures were on the next to last page. So I'm gonna hand it to the husband. I'm going to say your signature is on the next to last page here. And then there are two CDs. They are duplicates. Then I'm going to hand this one to the wife. And I'm going to say your signature is on the next to last page there. You two are to sign and then switch and then sign again. Now, he got a CD and she got a CD and they're duplicates. But both of them have to sign both CDs. So he signs his and gives it to her. She signs hers and gives it to him. Now they're both signed, and once they're both signed, they're going to put them face down on the table. By that time, now while they're doing that, remember, I was looking for the CD when I started, and I pulled some other docs out. This is the ALTA. A lot of places call this the master statement. This is a title document. Their signatures go here too, but they're on the second pages. The second page. The third page, I'm sorry. So I would hand it to him, and in the meantime, while he's signing that, passing it over, depending on how fast he write or whatever his situation is, I'm still going through separating pages. So remember how I told you we're going to use all of this space at the table? You literally are going to use a lot of space. So try to clear out the table, because the more room you have to sort and move stuff, the better. Now here's something important that I want to show you. When I'm sitting down in front of my customers, I have the envelope. This is the wrong size, but I have the envelope here. Make sure the camera get this. I have the envelope here. And remember when I first started, I told you I pulled all of these documents off the top and I call them the fluff. These are the documents that they will never have to sign. And I said, since they don't have to sign them, why am I going to give them to them? There's no reason for me to put them in front of them at all unless they ask me. So since I know that they aren't going to sign any of this stuff, I tuck it under my envelope like this. So now, if you look at the piles I've got the docs they've signed here. These are the docs that are waiting to be signed, or docs that I'm separating and segregating. They're over there. Then the pile that I'm working with is right here. And the ones that I know that they don't have to sign, the fluff is under my envelope so it doesn't get in the way and I don't have to worry about it. And now he's got, let me move this up some. Now he's got the master statement.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you give an example of the documents they don't have to sign?
Absolutely. Who is that speaking?
Kara.
Hey, sis.
Hey.
Okay. The way that you know the first clue that they don't have to sign these docs is because there's no signature lines. They won't have to sign anything that doesn't have a signature line. And they're usually full of instructions. Now, remember, I'm close to 3,000 closings. So a lot of these I've seen over and over and over. And a lot of these I've done documents for these companies. So I just remember some of this stuff. But starting out, if you don't see a signature line, you never have to create a signature line unless the title company tells you ahead of time. See, look, this is an instruction to the notary. The Usa Patriot Act information form. Please complete a separate form for each borrower. 2 forms of identification are required to complete the form. Credit cards are not acceptable. So we talked about the Patriot Act already. That is a document that you complete, not your clients. But yeah, in the fluff, there are no signature lines, and it's all, if you look at it, look at the top. Okay, first the bottom. It is, what's that, 5 pages. I hope that's not too blurry. Then at the top, it says closing conditions. So these are documents that go to the escrow manager or the person at the lender. And basically that set of 5 documents lets them know what conditions need to be met to authorize the funding. What paperwork has to be completed correctly and included before the lender says, okay, they got all their paperwork in, we're going to fund the loan. So, and this is just a part of what doesn't need to be signed. There's several more that we're going to find in the package as we go. I just wanted to get started because I wanted people to start to see the process happen. But we ain't even 10% into the docs yet. Now, the mortgage. Remember, he has the alta statement. This is your mortgage. The mortgage is always multi-paged, and the mortgage always needs to be notarized. So what I do, I don't give them this. And I'll tell you why in a minute. You just got to bear with me and learn the process. Well, learn my method. Any document that needs to be notarized, I do not give them. Not yet. I put it over to the side. This is the note. The note is a document that they have to sign. So he still has the alta statement. Maybe he's looking through it. So I would take my note, which is 2 pages, and I would give it to her and say, here, your signature goes on the 2nd page. He has to sign after you. So now he got a piece of paper and she got a piece of paper. He may be studying the alta because this has the breakdown of the entire loan in credit and debit format. It's got all the numbers for everything, every fee that they paid, everything that they charged them in their closing costs. All of that is included in the alta. So the husband is studying the numbers. While he is doing that, what would I do? As the notary or the closer, whatever you want to call yourself, you have a couple of options. Me, if this early in the packet, I am still going to go through and separate and get the documents that they have to sign. So that one, this is weird. I might have an error. No, it's not important to you guys. So I'm separating pages that everybody has to sign. Now, this is the application. We're going to review this one because this is one of the documents that I do halfway through. So we're going to put that to the side as well. This is the Patriot Act. This is the one where I just read you that instruction. We talked about it. This is the document where you verify their identification. They do not sign this. The notary signs this. So I put that to the side. Now, they still going through numbers, so I'm watching them. But at the same time, I'm sorting my pile so that I can have something else to give them. So let's say now they've completed these. He has signed this one. She signed this one. They've switched. And now they've put them in the middle of the table. So now I need to get them some more documents because in this process, nobody should be sitting still. Everybody got something to do. Their job is to sign their name and put the date. Your job is to get them these documents and make sure the best you can that they're correct. Now, if you notice, I'm not taking them from them verifying anything. I'm just collecting everything in this pile because I told them when we started, I go through this to verify accuracy. So this pile is going to grow and grow and grow. The two of them are going to constantly get the docs from me that do not need to be notarized. This is another one. This is the condominium rider. Remember, I told you this one marries the HOA to the mortgage. So I give it to him. And then this is the fixed interest rate rider, letting them know that their interest rate is fixed. I give that to her. So now, again, both of them have papers. Both of them have something to do. What do? I'm creating piles. And as I do this, I hope y'all taking a note or two. As I do this, the piles grow and I create different types of piles. So I'll explain. Here, this pile is going to be single docs that don't need to be stamped. I'm going to put those right here. Then perhaps, let me move this. Yeah, you can never have enough room for these. That's that. I hope y'all learning that if nothing else. These things, they'll fill up a table quick. And if you don't have this much space, then you're going to have to improvise. But you need space because you have to make piles, especially if you want to get through this quickly. All right, so this pile, these are documents that do not need to be notarized. Then in front of me is still my pile that I'm working on because the two of them are signed and the two of them are working on what I gave them to sign. So here is a 2-page document that needs to be signed, but it does not need to be notarized. So now I'll explain my piles. I've got the fluff or the documents that they don't need to see under my envelope. Those I'm not going to touch until I'm done and about to leave. Then here, I've got the pile of documents that need both signatures but does not need to be notarized. And these are single pages, 1-page documents, not multi-page documents. Then down on the end over there, let me twist some more. Down on the end here, this pile is multi-page documents that need both signatures that do not need to be notarized. The documents that need to be notarized, hold on. Those are right here. So I'm going to set a stamp on top of the documents that need to be notarized. And every document that I'm going to have to notarize while I'm here at the table with them, it's under my stamp. Then I'm going to get back to what's in front of me because they still sign. Okay, so they're done looking those over. So now I'm going to take the one he had, put it on the pile. And then I'm going to take the one she had, put it on the pile. Now, while you're going through this in front of me, you see I still got this fresh pile, and I have 3 pages that I found from sorting that need both of their signatures with not a hesitation. And notice, for me, it's good if they're paying attention to what they're writing. That way, they ain't had a chance to read none of this. Nothing. They haven't had a chance to read any of this. But if they choose to, that's fine. If they ask me questions about it, that's fine. I will tell them, I'll say, can I see the document, please? And then I'll look at the title. And then I'll let them know that this is a disclosure notice. So they're basically disclosing to them information about the loan product. That's it. We're not attorneys and we don't practice law. So you can't go in and break down these. You can't do that. That is not your job. Technically, it's illegal. If you tell them the wrong information about any of this stuff, about anything in here, if you are wrong, or let's not even say you're wrong. Let's say you know banking. If you start to define any of this, you will put them in a position that if they disagree with something, because you believe, you hope that once you leave the table that this is going to close and everything's going to go well. But in no way whatsoever am I going to put myself in a position where they will be able to say, well, Courtney said, or Courtney told me, or the notary said, or the notary told me. I don't want them to know the notary told them nothing except where you signed and where you put the date and that stuff off the CD that I read. The rest of this, that's why they have real estate attorneys. Let them explain this. That's their job. That's not our job. Our job is to make sure that they do this part correctly. So I'm doing my job. I can give them the definition of this. That's fine, but that still won't help them with this in here. So a lot of times, I ain't gonna lie, more often than not, they don't ask. But I help them not have an opportunity to ask us. I'm constantly giving them pages that they need to sign. There's always a document in front of them, and as soon as they pass me another one, I'm handing them another one. And then if she passes me one before he does, and I've already got this sorted, I'll take the page she has that she's already signed and it's waiting on his signature, and I'll put it over to the side next to him. Now he may think, oh, this stuff is piling up. Now she's signing faster than me. You know, you never know what it is, but at the end of the day, you want to keep this moving. You don't, if they do stop and read, we'll go over that in a question and answer session. But for right now, remember, these are perfect conditions. So nobody is doing that. All right, so I'll take these three documents that need, three documents that need both of their signatures, and I'll tell them the two of you need to sign all three of those. So now I've bought myself some time because the two of them got to sign those three documents. While they're doing that, I'm back over here on my pile and I'm still separating. So this next one is a 2-page document and it needs to be notarized. Okay, I see that it's going to end in 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes, it's going to kick me out and I'm going to come back in. So we're going to keep going though while I let that 10-minute window expire. So just don't leave the room. I am going to just pause where I am, and then I'll pick back up when I come back, okay? So this 2-page document needs to be notarized. I'm going to put that under the pile. It was Kathy. Kathy, I guess she left. All right, Doc, this is your first payment letter that we talked about. It tells you that your first payment is on March 1st, and it gives a breakdown. It tells you what your principal payment is, your taxes, and insurance, and it tells you about your PMI. All of that's on your first payment letter, as well as having your first payment coupons as the second page. This is a 2-page document that needs both signatures, so it'll go in a pile for my 2-pagers, not the documents that are notarized. This is an advertisement from Penny Mac, an advertisement for their auto pay setup. This is more fluff. There's nothing that I have to do with this because this isn't the sign-up form for auto pay. This is just the advertisement for auto pay. So it goes under here. Then they've got another 2-page document, the escrow account disclosure statement. It's 2 pages, but it does not need to be notarized, so it will go over here with the 2 pages that don't need notarization. Here's a signature name affidavit. This is a 1-page doc, but it needs to be notarized, so it will go over here with the notarization docs. Now, the reason that I'm making all of these piles of docs that need to be notarized, docs that don't need to be notarized, is because I need to get this whole packet done at the same time. I need to be done with all of this as soon as they're done signing. That's my goal. So while they're signing these individual docs, I'm still sorting. So they've signed these 3 pages. While they were doing that, I've been able to accumulate some more 2-page documents from this pile over here. These are the 2-page documents that need, or the multi-page docs that need their signatures. So while they were signing those 3 pages and I kept sorting, I've got ahead of them on the pages. So now I'm going to take this set of this set of docs and this set of docs. Your signatures on the last page here and your signatures on the first page here. Now they got another set of paperwork to work on. And while they're doing that, I'm still sorting here in the middle. So this is a 1-page doc with no stamp. This one gets stamped. So you understand why, like, I'm just starting to separate and break the packet down. You saw how thick it was when we started. We're about halfway done with it now. Keep in mind the meeting going to be ending in a couple of minutes, so I'm going to have to step out and step back in. Now, this is Form 4506. This is where they give authorization to use their tax returns to verify their financial status. The document comes in several different forms. On all of them, the customer has to check this little checkbox if it isn't checked already. Basically, the way they format this is how their tax returns went. If they filed a joint return, then both of them may need to sign the same form. If they filed married but filing separately, then each of them could be issued an individual form. You have to look at the bottom of the form to see. It'll have his name and maybe not her name. This one has both names. So John Doe will sign here below the word signature. He'll sign, he'll put the date in front of the phone number. And then Jane will sign and date without the phone number, and you have to make sure that they check this box. So this is a single page document that needs signatures, but you put this in yet another pile because you want to explain to them where the signatures need to go. So I'll separate this one into a pile over here. These are the instructions for that document that I just showed you. Several of the government or IRS or financial docs will have supporting documents. These instructions are fluff, so they'll go under the pile. Now I've got a 2-page document here that needs both signatures. That'll go here in the 2-page set. And then this is the tax record information sheet. This document is fluff. It has valuable information about the tax record. You see here on the second page where it says settlement agent. Remember, you're not that. You're the notary. You're not any kind of agent, except for in the instructions they may call you a signing agent. But even then, if you don't sign that, it's okay. You are not a settlement agent. A settlement agent is at the title company. So this document, this is fluff. It'll go under the pile with the rest of the stuff they don't sign. Now we have the amortization schedule. It's basically a breakdown of every payment of their loan from beginning to end. Some lenders want them to sign it, some lenders do not. Either way, they're signing this one, and this is a multi-page document that needs both signatures. So now you have to watch all parts of the table. So they've signed these two. Those are done. And while they were signing that, I've had a chance to sort one or two. So I'm going to take the amortization schedule that I just showed you. Your signature's on the last page here. Then I've got a 2-page set for her. And then you're on the last page here. By this time, they're both used to knowing that everything you hand them, they both got to sign it. So now, at this point, we've made it through this much of the pile. They're pretty much understanding that they're going to sign and they're going to switch and they're going to sign again. So you don't have to remind them of that. And even if one of them forgets to pass the document over, you're not going to worry about it because you are going to go back through this pile before you leave. Now you have the addendum to the Uniform Residential Loan Application. Now this doc is very tricky because they have to sign it more than once. The HUD addendum, we're not doing document definitions. If anyone wants them, I have a wonderful set of doc definitions. Just shoot me a text. I'll email them over to you, and then you can just do your thing. They need to sign it here in the middle on the first page, and then they need to sign it here again on the second page. Usually, government docs or official, I guess, I don't know what kind I'm going to call them. Just look for their names below the signature lines. I did have an episode where someone had them sign here. Actually, it was this same document. They signed it here, and they signed it here, and they signed it here. The correct thing was here and here. Now, if you notice, I'm separating what needs to be notarized. None of this other stuff needs to be notarized. I'm assuming that there at some point people thought or think that they're notarizing their signatures. That's true, but not every signature, not several signatures. There are so few documents that you actually have to notarize. If you do more than 10, if you stamp more than 10 pages, that's a lot of notarizations. It is. So this is a multi-page doc that they have to sign. We're going to put that in the appropriate pile. This is part or page 3 and 4 of what I just had. So these will go together, but it's still a multi-page document that's not notarized. It goes in the correct pile. Now we've got some more single-page docs. Then this here, this is information about PennyMac and what they do with your personal information. This is fluff. They don't have to sign this. There's no reason to give them this. The W-9, if you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. It's where they verify your tax, your Social Security card. Huge space in the middle. Sign here with the date. This is a single page document, but it needs to be explained because it's some people will sign it in the wrong place. You just learn that from doing this. So both of them, because they're both on a loan, both of them have a W-9. So that goes in the docs that needs to be explained. So let's review the piles again. We've got the fluff, the stuff that they don't have to sign, they don't need to see. That goes under your envelope. Then over here, this first pile, These are the single page documents that need both signatures. So both of them have to sign each individual page here. Then the next pile, multi-page documents that need both signatures. Then the next pile, and yes, I rip people table up just like this. The piles are a lot closer together because I know how to keep them close, and I've done this a lot. But yes, I try to use all of this space when I'm doing a closing because I need to get the stuff quick. I don't necessarily want to dig through the pile or flip through the pages. I want to know where everything is. And then we've got the documents that are going to need a little bit of explanation. And some of them, they both will sign. Some of them will be individual signatures, but you put those in a separate pile. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 piles. 6 piles of docs. All right. Now, these are more instruction pages that go behind the W-9. They're fluff. You don't have to keep the instructions with the actual documents that they sign. This is the second W-9. This is going to be for the wife. And then these are the instructions behind that W-9. So the fluff pile continues to grow. All the piles will grow through the whole process. This is their consent to use their tax information. Now these right here, let me get back over here. Sorry, okay. Okay, where is, ooh. Okay, so we're getting to the close to the end of the packet. What I've noticed a lot of times, the title company, they put their docs near the back, near the rear. So these are instructions. A payoff demand statement, all of this stuff. And little sis, Kara, did I say it right? I'm still trying to get it. I ain't said nothing to you because I don't want to butcher your name out in the universe.
The pronunciation is in the name. That's why it's right there.
See, that's why I ain't even want to say nothing to her. She a smart aleck like me. Say your name for me.
No, I'm sorry. It did go away because the Zoom ended. I'll rename it, but it's Kara.
Kara. Right, because I thought it was like Karo syrup. Kara. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right, so Kara, these are all fluff documents, and there are no signature pages, so there's no reason at all. Now here, consumer certification. This is a title doc. They have to sign it, but down here it asks for the settlement agent. We are not anything other than a notary. We are no kind of agents. We are not officers of the title company or officers of the lender. So this is a single page doc that requires both signatures. Now, this is the deposit and disbursement agreement. Earlier I had talked about how there'll be a page where they ask the customer how did she really put her name up there? Whatever. They ask the customer how they want their money to come back to them. This is that document. They have to initial next to their selection. The first one is customer authorizes and directs, ORT, that's Old Republic Title, to send the customer loan proceeds in the amount shown in the settlement statement in the form of an escrow check to the address listed on the settlement statement. So basically, their refund is going to come to the property address. That is the default. The title company will send the check to the property that involves the transaction. That's the default scenario. Down here, they give them the option to have their refund check wired to an account of their choice. So they will make their selection, put their initials next to it. They would sign, and this document gets notarized. So it's going to go over here in my stamp. Now, while we're doing that, they have signed these. And since we've been sorting, and you have to watch them, you can't let them sit. So even though you want to get to the end of your packet because it was so thick, you're going to have time. Don't worry about it. Once they're done, now we're going to do the docs that need some explanation. We're going to do the W-9 and we're going to do the 4506. You're going to hand them both of these because they both have to sign one page individually. So you give her hers. You turn them up. Well, I turn them upside down and say both of you have one of these individually, and the signatures will go here. And you point to the signature line where the date goes. hand them those documents. They're going to finish those real quick, but since they have, you got the next one that needs special instructions. So it's going to be the W-9 and the Form 4506 and the 1033. I did those numbers because that's what the industry called them. But basically, the W-9, you'll learn what that is. The 4506, you'll learn what that is. The 1033 is the application. And we're going to go over that specifically because it's easy to miss some stuff. And Kara, when I met you, I told you were going to mess up the application on these docs. And you missed the one thing that I wanted to tell you, but I refused to tell you because you're stubborn like me. And I just needed to be able to tell you I was right, and I told you so. So I did it. And now I'm going
Okay, you were right.
We're going to go over it in a minute. I'm going to point out what I wanted you to see. So once they sign these individually, then you give them the Form 4506. And remember, that box has to be checked above their signatures. It's always on the left-hand side. And on several occasions, many of the lenders will check this for you. It won't, but you just had them put an X in it. And then you give them this to sign together. So they collectively sign this doc. Then you go and you give them some more because you got these piles already organized. So this is the HUD addendum. This is the one that they're going to sign pages 1 and 2 only, and they're going to sign page 2 twice. So you turn it upside down. You've already looked at it. Hopefully, you have already gone through. Wait a second. Let me get this real quick. Visual aid. Hopefully, you've already gone through and you flagged it on both pages. You flagged it here, and you flagged it down here where they need to sign. So you're going to put this in front of them and say, all right, I'm going to need both of you to sign this document on pages 1 and 2. On page 1, the signatures go here. On page 2, the signatures go here. I'm going to turn it around and show you. I showed them on page 1, the signatures go here. And on page 2, the signatures go here, just above their name. I did have an individual who thought that maybe they needed to sign here and here. It's just above the name with the dates. Then you hand it to them. And while they work on that, of course, we always going to be doing the same thing. We come back to the pile because the goal for us right now, the short-term goal is to get rid of this pile. Once you've got this pile gone, you know that everything is sorted. You can breathe a little bit easier, and then you can start notarize because you still got to notarize all of this stuff. And remember, you want to have this pile notarized and done by the time you leave this table. You don't want to have to go and do it later or any of that. You want it all done at the table. On an affidavit, affidavits and acknowledgments, those are givens. Burn those in your brain. Learn the difference between the two because they all need to be notarized all the time somewhere. So this is an affidavit. The notarization is on the second page down here. This is your notary block. So this is a 2-page document that needs to be notarized. It goes to the pile. Homestead affidavit. It's an affidavit or an acknowledgement. It has to be notarized. So you can automatically put that one in your notarization pile. Certification of proof of identity. This goes or ties along with, this is not from this packet, by the way. This is one of those extra practice docs that I told you about because my experiences have shown me Wells Fargo does this. Because Wells Fargo, on several occasions, they don't want you to send them a copy of the ID. They don't. They don't want people's pictures. They don't want the ID. Yes, I send the ID anyway, just in case. But they don't normally want the ID. They give you this instead of a Patriot Act where you have to go and put in the information, the name shown on the identification, the ID number, and all of this stuff. And then you have to sign it as the notary public. You do not stamp this. One of the quickest ways to tell if you have to stamp something, it may ask for the expiration date of your commission. If it doesn't have the expiration date of your commission here, or if it doesn't have, hold on. If it doesn't have the venue here where it asks you for the state and the county, then those are the first signs that you might not need to notarize that document. Now we're back on the pile. They finished signing these 4. So I like to get through the multi-page signed documents first. So you hand them this last one from the pile that was multi-page documents that need both signatures. So now they're going to work on this and you're going to sort a little bit more. The only pile you have left right now is the single page documents that need both signatures. So we're still sorting and we're still adding to that pile of single page documents. Now here's a POA or power of attorney or correction agreement. This gets notarized. This will go over here. Now, you will see this in a lot of documents or in a lot of loan package. It's simply an acknowledgement. It's a blank all-purpose acknowledgement. Sometimes they'll put the word all-purpose in front of this, but if you see a blank, just an acknowledgement there, and it's not behind any other pages, the title company and the signing service want you to notarize this. Do not. You are not supposed to give anyone your blank stamp to do with it what they want to. If you stamp something, you've notarized a signature. This document is a correction tool that they use. I'm going to put this aside and explain more about it later, but when you see just a blank acknowledgement in your closing packet, don't stamp that, don't sign that, just leave it blank and send it back. So we're going to put that in a separate pile. Now we have the affiliate business arrangement disclosure. There's no notarization, so this is a single page. Now back over here, our clients, they have finished signing this this multi-page document that needs both signatures. You almost done with your pile. It's super thin compared to how it was. And at the same time, you've created a pile. Now you have bought yourself some time. So you're going to take this pile and say, I'm going to need both of you to sign all of those. While they digging through that, you still back over here working on getting rid of your pile. This is more fluff. So it'll go here. This is the title commitment. This is all stuff that you don't have to sign either. And if you notice, there are no signature pages, and then you will see your label. Usually, if it's at the end, this is the last page of the packet. So technically, you're done. Technically. But I've included more docs for practice. Like this one. This is a quit claim deed or QCD. I think, Ray, you saw this before. This is when someone wants to, it's so many reasons or ways that they use this. Either way, when you go through this, Kara, I want you to pay attention to, because you had this, and I'm not calling you out, but this is important. I want to make sure you understand one concept about this document in particular. You'll see this when someone has had a name change, like if somebody got married, they bought the property, their name was one thing, and then they got to make a name change on the title of the property. It does get notarized. It gets notarized here. It'll have either the grantee's name or something like that. This part is pretty much basic. Everybody will understand this. Kara, I'm getting to the point that I wanted to. All right, here. For the municipal transfer stamp, it asks for a signature of the buyer, seller, or representative. You see how there's only one signature line? You have both of them sign this. You have both of them sign this. Now, this is a multi-purpose document, and it's hard to explain, but think of it this way. If the title company wants them to sign this, they're not going to tell you. But if the title company wants them to sign this, they aren't going to include two of them, so you have them both sign it. You see here where it says, if required. As the notary, you don't know. That's not your job. So cover yourself and avoid making a mistake. So have them both sign this and put the date, because it asks for the buyer, seller, or representative. They both are buyers. They're buying the refinance product. So they're both buyers. So we have both of them sign this. Now, if they get it back and the title company doesn't need both signatures, they print another one. They're going to discard the one that you sent them and they're going to print another one. So have both of them sign this. Then on the last page of this is where it's funky. A signature of grantor or agent. All right. Agent means if they have given someone a power of attorney. So if they have authorized someone to act as their agent, you'll know that when you get the docs, because the title company going to make a big deal about it. Now, Kara, on page 1, Jane Doe Batman, blah, 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 blah. Where is it at? Where is it? Did I leave a page out? Hold on. I'm looking for it because they clearly. Oh, here we go. I read past it. All right. Jane Doe Batman, who acquired title as Jane Doe, now married, hereinafter grantor. So she is the grantor. But if you read further, let's start here. She grants and quitclaims to Jane Doe Batman and John Doe Batman, husband and wife, hereinafter grantees. So Jane Doe is the grantor, but Jane Doe and John Doe are the grantees. This is a trick document. I put this out there specifically to trip people up. So when it says signature of grantor or agent, Jane Doe is the grantor. So she's going to sign this. In your notary block, you're going to put subscribed and sworn. I'm sorry. Subscribed and sworn to before me by the said grantor. Grantor goes here, and then you fill in the date, and then you sign as your notary, and you stamp here. Then down here where it says grantee, they're both grantees. So you would have both of them sign this next to each other, and yes, you can either extend the signature line. You can have them sign one up high, smaller, and then one down below, smaller. Anyway, but they both need to sign as grantees. And the title company did not include a second document. So they both have to sign the same line. And then it's your notary block subscribed and sworn to before me by the said grantees goes here. And then you sign as the notary and you stamp this. So the quitclaim deed, it needs special attention sometimes. And then this is the last page of it. Jane Doe Batman signs here. You do your notary thing. See how it has the venue, state of Illinois, county of wherever. Then it asks, now on this line it says Jane Doe Batman, who is personally known to me or has produced. They want to know, because to notarize the signature, you have to verify their identity. So the two circumstances are you have to personally know the signer, or you have to verify the signer's identity via valid ID. That's one of the methods. So whatever way you use to verify their ID would go here. In this case, or has produced driver's license. Then you sign and notarize here. Now we got done the pile, the big pile. Wait, we're going to put the QCD over there because we went through that already. So now, by this time, they are still, trust me, they still working on that single pile over there. And while they're working on that and you got the pile in front of you gone, now you've got all of these documents that need to be notarized. So while you always usually stay ahead of them. It may take a while to get to that point, but you'll be ahead of them, trust me. So while they're doing that, then you get the signatures. Here's my stamp for this one, and then my signature. That's not my signature. This is just for this video. Then when they're done, they got to sign the last page of that. The affidavit of occupancy, same thing. Complete the venue. And let me get it closer. Complete the venue if you haven't already done so. Then the date goes here. Your signature goes here. And then your stamp is here. Now you've done this one. So now you're getting ahead of them even more because now the notarized documents are being completed. After you do that, they're going to make it through all of these. And you can hand them these one document at a time for the notarized docs. There's some that they have to answer questions. We're going to show you some other stuff. Anytime that they see the date above their signature, they want the long version of the date completed. So it'd be dated effective this 6th day of February 2022. Then they would sign, and then they have to put their date again. But this document gets notarized by you. You include the date. The venue is there. Now some stuff, and then we talked about this one. It needs to be notarized, so I don't have to simulate that. This affidavit has questions. Nope, this is an extra doc. Here it is. Check for affidavit of no new improvements. They initial there or they put a check mark. This document, you are going to have to do some research on your own. But the answers, they've made no new improvements. It asks about when the improvements were made. This part stays blank. Check for affidavit of new improvements. If they have made new improvements, it would be included in the loan. They would talk about how much the improvements were. So there was none of that. So you can leave this item blank. Check for affidavit in lieu of survey. You ask them, did they get a copy of the survey, or they should know the terms of this. If they do not, you basically ask them, or I ask them, did you have a survey done? And if they say no, then they initial here because they're supplying this affidavit instead of the survey. Down here at the bottom is information they want to fill in or offer. There is none. Then they're going to sign down here where it says owner or affiant, and then you would notarize this. So this is another doc that they notarize. We talked about this. This comes from Wells Fargo. This is that thing instead of the Patriot Act that they do. Then the power of attorney.